Brain health isn't just built through habits. It's shaped moment by moment by the inputs that are around you, including something as simple and as powerful as scent. Hi, I'm Dr. Sarah, a naturopathic and functional medicine doctor and essential oils expert, and I've been in clinical practice for almost 20 years. Welcome back to my Brain Health Foundation series. So far, we've explored how nutrition fuels the brain, how movement activates it, and how mindset helps shape and regulate it. Today, we're going to dive into what I often see as the missing link in brain health: sensory input, specifically smell. Because your sense of smell is one of the most direct ways to influence how your brain functions and how your body responds to stress and how you feel in real time. But it's still one of the most overlooked tools in both conventional and even integrative approaches to brain health. So, today we're going to unpack how smell connects to the brain, how essential oils influence both physiology and mood, and how you can begin using scent more intentionally to support your resilience and your nervous system balance. So, before we zoom in on smell, I want to zoom out just for a moment. From a naturopathic and functional medicine perspective, brain health is never isolated. It's always influenced by more than one thing and a network of systems and inputs. That's why in this series, we've been focusing on several foundations. First, we talked about nutrition, which provides the nourishment and the building blocks for neurotransmitters, energy, and to calm down any neuroinflammation in the brain. Then we talked about movement. Movement supports circulation to the brain. It helps neuroplasticity or rewiring in the brain pathways for better outcomes and behavior, and it helps with stress resilience. And finally, we just previously discussed mindset, which helps shape your perception, your stress response, and overall physiological signaling. Now we're going to dive into the fourth layer, which is sensory input, especially smell. And this has the ability to regulate the brain in real time. What I mean is almost instantaneously, because it goes directly to our brain through neurological pathways. And all of these inputs interact with other foundations of brain health, like nervous system regulation, inflammation, gut brain communication, hormones, metabolic health, environmental exposures, and lifestyles. They impact them all. And this is where smell becomes especially interesting because it doesn't just influence one of these systems, it interfaces with many of them all at once. So we are constantly taking in this information from our environment. And it isn't just through what we eat, how we move, or what we see, hear, or touch. It's through smell as well. And when we're looking at this from a functional and naturopathic perspective or lens, your brain is using these inputs to interpret and adjust your physiology accordingly. So it's really important to ask yourself this question: what daily inputs are you taking in, and do they support your regulation or do they add to your overall body burden and overload? Because even subtle signals, such as your sense of smell, can either support your nervous system and your brain or quietly dysregulate it over time. And we know now that smell is different from any other senses. I talked a little bit about this direct pathway into the brain. Your sense of smell is the only sense that doesn't have to go through processing. It happens instantaneously. It does not have to go through the thalamus to get interpreted. And especially when we smell, it goes to areas involved in memory, emotional processing, and stress responses. This is why a scent can instantly shift our mood or bring back a memory without any effort at all. Like I said, there's no heavy processing required. It's immediate. And this is why essential oils can be so powerful, because it isn't just about a smell or a relaxation response. They're interacting with your brain and your physiology at the same time, because they actually aren't just odorous compounds, they actually are biochemical compounds at the same time. So, in clinical practice, I have seen how scent can influence mood and emotional state, stress signaling, cognitive function, overall resilience time and time again. And this is why I think scent is so underestimated and it needs to be brought to the forefront in holistic health. Because in reality, it's a direct input directly into your brain and body system all at once. So the next question is, what are you inhaling for your brain? And I mean this by the air that you're breathing and the odors it carries. All of these things matter. Things like synthetic fragrances, cleaning products, environmental pollutants, they can contribute to sensory overload and cause brain and nervous system dysregulation, not to mention toxic burden on the body and the liver. And this effect doesn't just stay on the brain. When we're inhaling these compounds that aren't so natural and good for us, it can ripple into things such as hormone imbalances, immune dysregulation, and overall health issues. Now, on the other hand, when we use natural compounds from plants and trees, they can support mental clarity, immune balance, and a sense of calm. These volatile emitting compounds from trees, they're known as phytonosides, are one of the reasons why we feel so restored when we go into nature. So this is why I use essential oils in clinical practice. It's bringing those volatile compounds from the outdoors indoors. And through inhalation, essential oils can interact directly with that limbic system, that emotional center of the brain. So they affect emotions and memory instantaneously while they support different physiological processes through their biochemistry. So they have been shown to help with stress adaptation, nervous system regulation, inflammatory signaling, and provide gentle environmental support. In other words, we're inhaling essential oils, which enhance our health, versus synthetic fragrances and maybe even cleaning with them instead of chemicals and endocrine disruptors. Essential oils have the ability to regulate the hypothalamus pituitary adrenal axis, which is our endocrine system regulation, and they help support neurotransmitter balance. They lower our stress hormone cortisol. Actually, they can also help balance it, and they can stimulate the vagus nerve. This is very important to go into the rest and digest part of the nervous system, which is where restoration and resiliency occurs and where we can actually allow our system to reset. So again, essential oils aren't just working on one level of sensory input and our sense of smell and our mood, but they're acting both chemically and sensorily, which makes them such powerful integrative tools. We've seen this application through olfactory training or smell training, which is a simple structured practice where repeatedly exposing the brain to specific scents can help retrain neural pathways. And this matters because changes in smell has been shown to reflect deeper shifts in our neurological, immune, and inflammatory health. So, for example, changes of smell have been used to diagnose risk for Alzheimer's disease. And smell training has been used to help support this process of helping to create new neuroplasticity in the brain, especially related to where we smell odors. And some of the mechanisms have been shown to be neural regeneration, strengthening brain sensory connections, and reducing neuroinflammation, as well as having some antimicrobial effects. I've used smell training with some of my clients when they were recovering from infections and they lost their sense of smell. I've seen some meaningful improvements with that when it's part of a broader holistic approach. Now, it's also important to understand that our sensory organ, our nose, isn't just for senses. It's also a protective gateway because the olfactory system helps detect environmental inputs while also playing a role in immune defense. So when we think about brain health and what's inhaled through our nose, we're really looking at both sides, input and protection. So when we put this all together, we have now 4 foundational pillars of brain health. We have nutrition to fuel the brain, we have movement to activate the brain, we have mindset to shift the brain and shape it, and then we have sensory input, especially smell, to regulate the brain in real time, helping with emotions as well as nervous system regulation. And just like everything else, it doesn't have to be complicated. It starts with awareness and small intentional shifts. So starting something as simple as a daily sensory ritual, which could include maybe 20 minutes of diffusing in the morning or at night, or inhaling your favorite essential oil when you feel stressed. These can begin to shift how your body receives and responds to stress. Now, there is an accompanying article to this video that goes into details with some specific essential oils, as well as more details into the science of how our sense of smell impacts and rewires the brain. So if you want that detail, be sure to click on the link in the video description, as well as it will also have links to previous videos that we've done. So, in closing, brain health isn't just something we build through big habits. It's shaped moment to moment through the inputs we're constantly receiving and putting into our body, whether it be through movement, whether it be through nutrition, whether it be through mindset and mindfulness, or what we smell. We know that we are influencing this process, and smell is one of the most direct ways to do that. And when you begin to work with your sense of smell intentionally, not just for supporting the mood, but also for supporting and engaging your brain in a fundamental and meaningful way, you can get really big shifts in your life, your behavior, and even help with shifting some habits. So, if you'd like to go deeper, as I mentioned, there is a link in the video description on this topic, and there's also additional resources I've shared on brain health, essential oils, and my clinical approach that's available on my website. And if you want a more structured support, I have a brain health reset program coming soon with a special guest that's a clinical aromatherapist, and she's actually world renowned. So I'm very excited about that. Be sure to subscribe, like the video, click the link below to stay connected. Your support truly means more than you know. Thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next video.